no right nowhere, in no corner of the world. And I try.
You already know the power of Licks products on your clothes and household. You licked your whites and colored clothes, leaving them fresh and scented. You licked your dishes and left your hands protected with vitamin E. You licked your floors, even licked your toilet. Now we expand and bring you 3 new scents in our fabric softener: Balmy Sunshine, Summer Sunshine, and Thousand Flowers. And licks those stains off of colored clothes with Licks Color Scent Bleach. Licks went even further with Body Care body soap bars in deodorant and antibacterial. So licks tiredness and bacteria out and refresh your tired body. Your products giving you licks? Then choose Licks from Today Distribution Inc. Available at all leading supermarkets.
Good afternoon, St. Lucia. Once again, I am extremely sorry for the late start, but it was completely unnecessary. And when I tell you guys what happened, you will understand. So, just as I was about to sign on hair, Digicell's technician, who had been trying to get a hold of for the longest while, called, and he sorted everything out. Oh, now I'm still getting calls. Okay. Sorry about this, guys. Today I am all scatterbrained because been trying to sort things out, been trying to make everything work. But I finally gotten a handle on it, and we've sorted out half of the issue. The other half has to do with some special settings that, Digicel had me reset everything, and they just stopped our entire, just everything. So this is the reason why we've been having issues and we've been off the air and not being able to sort things out, because I am not technologically inclined whatsoever. So what the technicians tell me to do, I do. And Digicel had me resetting this modem over and over again, trying to fix whatever issues there were. And that was the totally wrong thing that I was supposed to be doing. But now that we know what the issue is, you guys are going to have everything sorted in a bit. The link is going to be back up soon. The tower is going to be back up. Everything will be sorted out. And I kept saying, could you please send someone in to check on this? But no, we can do it from here. Oh, anyway. Good afternoon, St. Lucia, and welcome to another edition of Hard Talk here on Fire 107.7 FM. Hopefully, after Digicel and the other technicians have sorted this out, then we will have no more issues with our internet. And trust me, take my advice. When these techie people, when you call customer care and they say reset your modem, please don't, because you are doing terrible things to yourself. Please don't. Okay, so right now that we have vented a bit, and I hope I have explained away why we have been in and out and why we had those issues with the internet, and hopefully we're not going to have these issues again. I've been warned by the head technician to never, ever, ever reset the modem ever again. We can move on to discussing more important things. So, yesterday I wanted to drop in on the pre-cabinet press briefing that was taking place at the, well, I'm not sure where it was taking place, because lately we've been told that the the office of the Prime Minister, where these events usually take place, was under construction. So, but they've resumed the weekly pre-cabinet press briefing, And I'm not sure where this took place this week, but it doesn't look like it is in the same venue. But anyway, I digress. So one of the speakers at the pre-cabinet press briefing was everybody's favorite tourism minister. And he was asked some very interesting questions by the people, well, the media that were there. And I just want us to go over it. Because, of course, these are the issues that matter, and these are the things that we need to discuss. We don't have to discuss all of this who did this, who didn't do that, who doesn't support this person, and who supports that person. What we need to understand in Sweet St. Lucia is that we, the people, we have a responsibility now that there is virtually no opposition. We have a responsibility to listen to everything that comes out from the government and ensure that we are getting value for our money. We cannot forget, St. Lucia, that we are the ones footing the bill when it comes to the government minister's salary, lifestyle, and their amenities. Every time you go to the supermarket, you pay VAT and you pay the 2.5% levy. Every time you go to the gas station, you pay the gas tax. Everywhere you go in St. Lucia, every transaction you make, you pay the internet bill, you pay the electricity bill, you pay the water bill, you're paying taxes. These taxes are then collected and used to provide the government with finance so that they can keep the country running. And part of that, a huge part of that, is the government ministers' salaries and amendments, their perks, so to speak. So as much as you might not like what they say, but you have a duty as a St. Lucian to listen, to understand, and to figure out if you enjoy the direction that the country is going in. It is your responsibility. So, I want to welcome everyone who is on the live right now and sending me well wishes and all of that. Thank you so much for your patience. Thank you so much for your resilience, I have to say. And thank you for sticking with us here on Fire FM. But I need to ask you, you may not like what the government ministers have to say, but it is your duty to listen. So bear with me as we take a deep dive into the pre-cabinet press briefing and the remarks of the tourism minister and, of course, Deputy Prime Minister Dr. Ernest Hilaire. I know sometimes people get frustrated. They say, oh, Angie, enough already. I don't want to hear about these people. But please, indulge me. Because how else are we to know if these gentlemen and ladies are doing us right when it comes to our country, governing our country? We need to know what is going on. And the only way we can know what is going on is if we listen. So I am taking you to the pre-cabinet press briefing where Dr. Ernest Hilaire is about to let us know his plans for the future and what is going on. Somebody says, I thought you weren't coming today. Oh, honey. Wild horses couldn't keep me away. I simply had to deal with these technical issues that we continue to have. But we found out the issue and now we know exactly what we're working on. It's like Tyson. Now that we know what he didn't die of, they're working on figuring out what he did die of. It's the same thing with my internet issues. Now that we know Sorry. Let's go to the Deputy Prime Minister, Dr. Ernest Hilaire.
No meeting has been held, and at the appropriate time. Any other matters?
Okay, we're speaking on the Uber issue. Following the idea to launch Uber into St. Lucia, the initiative have been one met with.
Any other matters?
Okay, we're speaking on.
I think there were a couple of questions that wanted to ask. So maybe we could take questions, and I can always add on any other matters.
Okay, we're speaking on the Uber issue. Following the idea to launch Uber into St. Lucia, the initiative have been one met with strong criticism. Can you provide some clarity as to how exactly?
Well, I don't know if you want me to speak generally about Uber. I did receive a letter from Uber indicating that they had an interest in operating in St. Lucia, and that they had invited interested taxi drivers to sign up with them, and they wanted to have a meeting to discuss it, and I agreed that we shall have a meeting in the new year to discuss it. And no meeting has been held, and at the appropriate time I will hear from them exactly what it is they want to say to me. I have also received a letter from the National Taxi Union, a very interesting letter about it. And the thing about it is that everybody let's just take it easy and let us talk, let's find out exactly what this is about, and that at the appropriate time we will decide the way forward. Government has not considered it, it has not been placed on the agenda of government, and at the appropriate time we will discuss it. I'd love to hear first of all the National Tax Union, what are the objections. They wrote a few to me in the letter, and I would also want to hear from Uber what they say. As far as I'm concerned, the laws of such is very clear. For you to be involved in transportation of that nature, you have to have a TX. So you have to have a TX, or else you're not authorized to transport people for hire. And that's very clear. If Uber is a technology platform, I don't know that the law prevents anybody from joining any service that can market and promote and facilitate their business. I don't know. But I'd love to hear what they say, and then we'll take it from there.
But even while you were speaking of a potential possible meeting and correspondence coming with regards concerns, would it surprise you to know that there are oversights on vehicles being used right now?
In St. Lucia?
No, yes.
TX taxis?
No.
And that's illegal. Because the law is very clear. For you you must have a TX plate. We tell that to our solutions. You cannot operate if you don't have a TX. You cannot. So you cannot do it. That's just what it is. And if I have any evidence of that being done, we will act accordingly, and the police will have to act accordingly. But you have to have a TX. That's it. Plain and simple. If you have a TX and you want to write Uber, that's your business. But you have to have a TX. That's it. So the first thing the National Taxi Union and Taxi Association should do is to tell the members, don't sign up with Uber. That's the first step to make sure it doesn't happen. But you must have a TX.
All right. This might not seem like such a huge deal for people like moi et toi that don't depend on that industry to make a living. But you have to understand, the The taxi drivers they are going through it. Just last week, I don't know if you were listening, but you would have heard a taxi driver or a tourism worker, a tourism operator who called and said that Avia, when it came to St. Lucia, it came half empty. So the taxi drivers, and then we would have seen a taxi driver in Castries go on the news and say that taxi drivers don't get as many trips as they used to. You understand? And then let's face it. Oh, we're getting a call already. Sorry, we missed your call. A person who was calling on the WhatsApp platform, please go ahead and call us back. But as I was saying, you cannot, you simply cannot deprive people of a means of earning extra income. Things are tough in St. Lucia. The standard of living, the cost of living is high, and the standard of living does not match the price that you are paying for it. So I find these comments about Uber, they're pretty short-sighted because, let's face it, I have seen tourist boats come on, and taxi drivers are there asking for trips, and people are simply no, and are walking away. And it's a huge majority of people walking away. Uber is a cheaper alternative. It's a rideshare alternative. It's a way for people to make extra income and provide a service. Let's just think about the bus situation for a minute. I live in an area where buses are not regular. It's on a Sunday you cannot get a bus. There are probably 2 buses on the road, and if you don't know the times that they pass, you're stuck. I go to church on a Sunday. I can't go to church regularly. You know? Also, if you live in Castries, or if you go to Castries on an evening, you would see multitudes of people, a plethora of people, waiting around for Viewfort bus, waiting around for Dennery bus, waiting around for, there's Viewfort bus, there's Dennery bus, they're waiting around for this other one, Dennery Valley and Dennery Village, and also Sarat Millet. Ancillary is another place where bus is tough on an evening. Now picture this. Yes, we have the bus system, but what if we had Uber, where we could call a ride share and people can get home safely? So I think this clamping down on Uber and saying you must have a TX, you must have a TX, you must have a TX, I think that's a bit short-sighted by the minister. I'm sorry, this is my opinion. And I know there are people who are of a contrary opinion. Oh, Christiana. Good afternoon to you, Christiana. Now, listen, you know, some of you listeners on here, whenever I say hi to someone, you get jealous. I got a message. This is real. I got a message some time ago. And someone said to me, oh, so you're calling this person, that person, but I don't hear you saying hi to me. I'm not discriminating against anyone. I love all of my listeners. But there are my special friends who I always shout out. So you would hear me shouting out Mrs. Veronica Vellanor, Miss Goldie, Miss Charmaine. You'll hear me calling out Christiana or Kim or Ian or Pastor Garfield and all of these people, it doesn't mean I love you any less. I love all of you guys. So good afternoon, everyone who listens. Mr. Redman, Macheka, everyone. Good afternoon to you guys. But let's go back to the Uber conversation. I think that the reason why the minister is adamant saying to the taxi drivers, the taxi associations, tell your people do not sign up with Uber. I think the reason for that is because they are trying to figure out a way to tax the entire operation. Good evening to you, Mr. Cassius Raymond, another special friend of mine. Let me tell you, some of my friends, I'm not saying anything. Oh, somebody wants to be my special friend. Okay, Val, you can be my special friend. Good afternoon to you, Val. Okay, so let's be serious. Uber. This is a way, I think the government not really wanting or trying to tell people you must have a TX. You can't do this. You can't do this unless you have a taxi plate. You're diminishing the entire point. Uber is a way for ordinary individuals who have a vehicle and have a license to make extra money. Finally, oh my goodness. So, Mr. Ken Edwin, and I'm going to expose you on here today, is actually the dad of one of my favorite people in the media profession. That is Miss Daniela Edwin, my surrogate baby sister. She is such a sweetheart, guys. She is such a sweetheart, and she is so versatile. Working with this girl at Hot FM was just amazing. And oh my goodness. Good afternoon to you, Mr. Edwin. And thank you for giving the world such a wonderful, wonderful young lady as Daniela. She is such a sweetheart, and I am so proud of her. And I wasn't proud. I couldn't have been prouder when I heard her flawlessly switch to Creole when we had this Creole version of the news for Creole Heritage Month. And only afterwards to find out that she does not speak a word of Creole. But this girl is amazing. She's going places, I am telling you. Anyway, so this is my take on the Uber situation. I don't think that this is something that the minister should be so rigid about. I mean, it's a way for persons to earn extra income, and it's a way for people to try to help themselves in this current economic crisis that we're going through. And you guys can tell me it's not a crisis if you want. But when you go to the supermarket and you try to buy toiletries, and I'm not talking about anything over the top. I'm talking about the basic amenities. I'm talking about deodorant. I'm talking about soap. I'm talking about cream. I'm talking about mouthwash. I'm talking about basic things that you need. Shampoo. When you pick up all of these things at the supermarket and you get to the checkout and it's more expensive than your groceries, there's a problem. There is a problem. Okay? So when persons are attempting to make a living for themselves, and even the taxi drivers, you know what? The taxi drivers are not getting as good as we think. I can tell you that. I know taxi drivers who have a taxi peg either at Point Seraphin or at La Place Carénage. When there are no cruise ships, all of these taxi drivers are parked by the supermarket. They're hoping that some person who can afford to buy a lot of groceries can afford to pay a taxi trip somewhere so they can supplement their income. I do not agree with the minister being so rigid on this Uber thing, and I honestly believe that they are simply looking for a way to tax this thing so that they can benefit from it. That is my take. People can say whatever they want. That is my take on this Uber thing. Uber is everywhere. Oh. Oh, somebody has a different take on this Uber thing than me. The person is saying, if there is nothing as yet about Uber, then why is it they are asking the taxi men to join them? Angie, Uber was a big problem in France until the transport minister had to mingle. Taxi men had to block Paris so that the problem could be solved. Things are a little better now. So the situation in St. Lucia is a bit different. In St. Lucia, Uber is specifically asking taxi drivers, registered taxi drivers, to join them. So I don't think it would cause such a huge problem. But there are private individuals, of course, who want to take advantage of a means of making some extra money or making a living, paying their bills. And you cannot blame them for wanting to take advantage of a situation. Because guess what? Things are tough. They want to pretend otherwise. I saw a news clip on DBS yesterday where the electoral department came out and said, oh, we finally paid all of the workers who worked for election. That's not true. That is not true. I went to the bank this morning. No money. So why are you saying this? Do you understand where I'm coming from? So we need to understand that things in St. Lucia are tough. The gas prices are high. This drives up the price of everything. If you listen to the Prime Minister last week when he was speaking about the water crisis, did you notice that he said that there is a proposal before the NUC to raise the price of water in St. Lucia? Are you aware that the prices we pay for water, in my opinion, is still too expensive? It's very low. Let's be honest, very low. But it's still too expensive. Why is it too expensive? Because Desgazons spent 3 months with no water. Because Cap Estate spent weeks with no water. Because Balata spends weeks at a time with no water. Because somebody gave me the name of another place. Where's the other place? There's another area where someone said 3 months there was no water. People go 2 months with no water. And they want to raise the price for a service that we are not getting. Where is this money coming from? It has to come from somewhere. Okay? It has to come from somewhere. But he's saying in a roundabout kind of way, oh, the water bills in St. Lucia, the price of water in St. Lucia is very, very cheap. It's very cheap. So you can afford to pay water. But how do you know what I can afford to pay? How do you know So maybe I have a vehicle, I'm still paying the loan, and my job cannot pay all of these bills. And why are you complaining that people are trying to make an extra dollar? Why? You're going to take it in taxes anyway. You want to take it with the 2.5% health and security levy where we have no health or security? If I'm being crazy, people, tell me I'm being crazy. When you go, listen, do you know that money just disappears in your purse in St. Lucia? You cannot have, in order for you to control your money, well, for me, I don't know about other people, but for me to control my money, as soon as it has to stay in the bank and I have to take out exactly what I need. Because if I have the cash on me, I'm in trouble. I am in trouble. And the price of gas, the price of fuel determines the price of electricity, which determines the price of water. Think about the small manufacturers that we have in St. Lucia. Maybe the people that do things like, let me see if I can think of something that St. Lucians do. We do the CMOS, okay, but we export most of that. We do okay, Barron's Foods, because they make that green seasoning that I love. You know, if you don't have that green seasoning, your food just don't come out right, you know. Barron's Foods, right? They make that green seasoning that you just cannot do without. And they make other seasonings and stuff. They make ketchup. How is this going to affect them? How is this going to affect those people? So, if I want to be able to afford the things that I used to be able to afford, and my job is just giving me the bare minimum, and maybe when I was in a higher tax bracket, I was able to afford a car, and now that I need some extra sustenance, I decide, okay, I am going to hook up to Uber, and instead of spending my Sunday afternoon lounging in front of the TV, I'm going to try to see if I can make some extra money. You telling me I cannot do that? I'm making the money to pay taxes anyway. By the time I fill up the tank, tax. I buy 4 tires, tax. I buy a part. You'll have by the way, let me say thank you to whoever is responsible for fixing that huge crater that was in the road in Sarah. Thank you for that. We needed that fixed. But I know some other constituencies are not so lucky. Okay? By the time you buy a pot, tax. Groceries, tax. And they tell you, go and plant what you eat. Grow what you eat and eat what you grow. But not everybody can grow everything. So you're trying to control me making some extra money that you're going to take in taxes anyway. But I digress. And when you're saying that in order to participate in this economic activity, you need to have a taxi plate. Granted, the laws are clear. We understand. We don't want to contravene the laws. But the taxi drivers need extra income too. They need extra avenues because they're not making money. When tourist boats are coming in close to empty, when flights are coming in almost empty, when flights are being lost at Urinara International Airport, when regional flights are not coming in to George Charles Airport, the taxi drivers are catching their royal derrieres. And they have wives and girlfriends and kids and parents that rely on them and themselves. I don't know if they have the wives and the girlfriends simultaneously. Don't quote me on that. I'm just saying some of them have wives, some of them have girlfriends. You know what I mean? Education is expensive. Healthcare is expensive. Groceries are expensive. Now they want to make water expensive. Somebody's saying over here, Angie, remember, always under a Labour government, they raised the water last time, and the Kenny water was raised by 100%. Exactly. And the people in the south are paying a damn dredging fee that they don't even need to pay. And someone is saying, he said, eat fig. You're not... some of us don't like green fig, okay? Some of us like sweet potato and dasheen. And dasheen is expensive. Do you know that you can no longer go to the market and buy $5 dasheen? If you have $5 in your pocket, you can't eat dasheen. I just think this is very short-sighted because the minister, to tell the people to not sign up, that private individuals cannot take advantage of this, I feel is really short-sighted, and I just feel it's the wrong way to go. You guys say that you are the government of inclusivity, yet every single policy is exclusive to only one set of people. Anyway, it's not like there isn't a need for an alternative transportation source. There is a need. Do you know that if you are a hotel worker, let's just put it there. And I'm saying this because I know the price. If you're a hotel worker and you miss the bus to get to work, you know these hotels operate on time. But say the area where you live in, bus is a bit late, especially if you live in an area like mine. And you end up spending longer than usual waiting for a bus. Not because you didn't come out early, but because due to traffic and all of that, the buses didn't run in a timely fashion. And so you got to the bus stop where the bus from the hotel, the staff bus, you missed the staff bus. Some of the hotels in St. Lucia, you cannot take the regular bus to get to work. If you work at Windjammer, if you work at Royalton, if you work at Smuggler's Cove is Royalton. If you work at Sandals Grand, if you work at Sandals Golf and Country Club, how are you going to get to work? You cannot get to work on the bus, and you have to be there by a certain time. You cannot afford a taxi to go to work. A taxi from Castries to Windjammer is $80. $80. So just imagine that you missed the bus. You need to get to work on time. You probably have a warning letter, and they're saying to you, if you get here late again, we're sending you home. You cannot afford taxi. If you take the bus, you have to walk all the way in. Well, L'Sport isn't right. L'Sport. Body Holiday. This other one, the landings. If you work at these places, how are you going to get to work? If you miss the staff bus, so your next best bet is Uber. So why can't we do it? 2 or 3 of you miss the bus, you do a ride share, and you go on your business. You get to work on time, because in St. Lucia you have to get to work on time. Somebody says, Angie, St. Lucians love the way SLP government is treating them. So don't cry about cost of living in St. Lucia. Ask for those in the taxi association. What they get, smoke it. Wow. Wow. Angie, I want to watch and listen, but I can't today. It's cold up here. I'm under my comforter, ready for a nap, hun. Sorry, I can't. You bailing out on me? I am so hurt. But honestly, guys, so I think the minister is a bit short-sighted in this, because I think there should be a way to allow private individuals to participate in this, because it's not as if there is no avenue for having an alternative transportation system in St. Lucia. It is necessary. Now, I know the bus drivers will get upset, because some of those on the Dennery stand, when they don't come, the Viewfort drivers pick up their passengers. Some of those on the Viewfort stand, some Dennery bus drivers pick up their passengers, but people need to get home. Now, ever since they announced the Uber, I've noticed that the bus drivers on my bus stop, they are providing a much better service. So I am very happy and very thankful to Uber for scaring them straight. Now, guys, I have to give you all a little joke. You notice that ever since the Prime Minister said to people that he wants to raise water and to do rainwater harvesting, it's been raining every day in St. Lucia. You think maybe God tried and tell him something? Anyway, so let's go back and listen to a few more tidbits from this pre-cabinet press briefing.
And we are very clear what the law says and what our policy is. And we're going to be adhering to this. But I'm going to wait to hear what the parties say. We're going to discuss it, and we're going to act in the national interest as we usually do.
Minister, how satisfied are you with your cruise ship arrival so far for this year?
Well, the numbers I'm seeing have been phenomenal. Now, remember, we judge a year from January to December for statistical purposes. The tourism season is October. You know, by April, May, the cruise ships kind of wiggle away because it's now summer in the Northern Hemisphere. And they move to the Mediterranean, they move to the North Atlantic. But so far, our numbers actually, we expect it to be our best year on record. It's been really, really, really good so far.
Okay, Carnival 2026, we have seen bands launching.
Yeah.
We've seen the bands launching. Are you expecting a bumper season this year?
I haven't gotten the briefing yet for Carnival. We're actually preparing for the announcement of the jazz lineup this Thursday. As you know, jazz is first 2 weeks of May, and on.
Okay, before we jump to jazz, let's go back to the cruise ship arrivals. Now, it's not like I am saying that the minister is not telling the truth, because somebody says the hacks have no problem with the government. Let them enjoy their victory. Somebody and they're saying not today again, Angie. But we need to learn. We need to hear what they're saying. Another one says, Angie, you're trying to explain to the people of the domino effect that will keep the people as beggars by controlling everything and how much money you can have in your pocket. Well, I have to explain. Maybe they don't understand. Another is saying tourism season is in October. Okay, guys, listen. Let's go back to the cruise ship arrivals. So, the minister says, and I quote, he was asked, how happy are you with your cruise ship arrivals? And he said, they were phenomenal. He's very happy. Everything is great. It's sunshine and rainbows and unicorns and Care Bears and everything is wonderful. Except, maybe that question was not phrased in the right way. Because if the minister is speaking about the ships in the harbor, then, of course, I'm happy too. Earlier this week, not last evening, but earlier this week, I noticed that the Britannia, one of the bigger ships, it actually overnighted at Point Seraphine. More economic activity for the vendors, more economic activity for the taxi drivers, for everyone. Hey, kudos. And we've been seeing 2 and 3 ships for, coming in on a regular basis. Yes, if he's talking about how many ships are sitting in the harbor, well, we have a bumper crop. But what about the persons? What about the visitors? How many visitors are these ships carrying? And again, I remind you of the call where the tourism worker informed us that some of these ships are coming here way below capacity. You see, we're seeing the ships, but we're not seeing the people walking around in the city. We're seeing the ships. We definitely are seeing the ships, but we're not seeing the taxi drivers going out on trips. We're seeing the ships, but the arcade is empty. We're seeing the ships, but where are the people? So, Mr. Minister, are you happy about the boats? Or are you happy about the people? Now, don't think I'm just sitting here and talking, and you might say, well, but maybe the people have gone on tours and they're in Soufre and they're in Grosley and they're in Dennery or Micoud and they're driving around. So somebody is saying to me, Angie, I'm used to buying breadfruit at $2.99 a pound, and now it is $5.99 in Canada. I passed it straight. I changed the menu to cow foot soup with potatoes. I feel sorry for you folks. Wow. He complaining for $3. Oh, wait, is that a pound? Okay. Complain away, buddy. Complain away. Complain away. I am sorry, because I was going to say you complaining for a little $3 to buy a breadfruit at $6, but I realized you said a pound. Sorry. I'm so sorry. Well, I wonder. Anyway, we'll get to that later, what I was thinking of. But let's go back to the tourism numbers. Now, you guys might think I'm just talking and you don't have any information. And she's sitting in the studio behind her desk. What she know about the tourism arrivals? But I happen to know individuals whose profession puts them smack dab in the middle of this sector. I happen to know several individuals who work with SLASPA, and not just any branch of SLASPA. We have a call. Wow. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Auntie Joyce. You are on the air. You scared me. How you doing? Because the the ringtone, I don't normally have it on so high.
My darling, you have not heard me for the new year.
I have not, and I have missed you.
I said no. January cannot end before I get to this child. But you know, I took my break. I took my time out.
I know.
Everybody needed to restore, regroup, refresh.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you go back and find your strength in the Lord.
That's right.
But if it's one thing I say, Angie, and it's one thing I say to you and to our listeners and our supporters, we voted for the principles, we say, and the policies and the standards and integrity of the United Workers' Party. That's what we did, right?
That's right.
And that stands for justice, it stands for truth, and it stands for charity.
Mm-hmm.
And if we say that is what we believe in, that is why we voted, then being silent, remaining in obscurity, remaining coward and frightened and afraid of being ostracized or criticized or ridiculed, being afraid of that means that we do not stand in the belief of our own convictions, therefore our vote was useless.
That's right.
You see, sometimes it is not only the majority, the loud voices that are speaking the truth. Because if that was the case, remember those who fought for the abolition of slavery were in the minority.
Yep.
Those who fought for equal rights were in the minority. Mm-hmm. Those who fought for women's right to vote was in the minority. And so on for many cases that today we are enjoying as a result of those people who believe in their convictions, believe in justice, believe in equality, believe in truth, believe in charity and love. They did it not with violence, they did it not with hatred, but they did it by standing their ground, speaking out, regardless of what they had to suffer. And many lost their lives.
Yes.
But today we are benefiting from the stand that those people who were in the minority stood up for. Today, women all over the world can vote.
Yep.
Black people can sit and move about in the same places as white people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? There is no more slavery. These people were in the minority. So when we think that because we're in the minority, we're listening to the loud majority that's saying, we win, it's the second time we win, we beat. It's not always so. Perseverance and standing in your truth and your integrity in the end, you win.
That's right.
Because God is always on the side of truth. And the enemy, we must understand, a lot of us do not, we say we believe in God, but we don't believe that there is also the adversary who is there, who is at work with his cohorts. And they are attacking and will want to make us be despondent, be depressed, to lose hope, lose courage. But if you are a courageous person, if your faith is rooted and grounded in God, if you believe in the truth of your conviction, then you will speak up, you will stand up. If you love your country and you believe, as I do, that the United Workers' Party's policies and principles are the best for this country, you will keep on speaking up regardless. So I've taken my break, my darling,
And now
I
you're
am back.
That's
And
right.
I wish you, honey, the very best that God has for you in this new year. I wish to all the supporters of the United Workers' Party, members and leaders, to stand firm and stand strong. This is not a time that you give up. The Word of God says you fall down 70 times that you get up.
And you get up.
The loser is the person who, when he falls, he doesn't get back up. But the person who gets up and say, okay, you win that battle, but you didn't win the war. So I'm going to get up and rearm myself to continue with the war.
Yeah.
We are in a war for the survival of this country and the people. And I know a lot of us will say, well, that's what the people wanted, so they get what they want. I give up on these people, man. These people don't know what's best for them. They have to suffer before they... Yes, that might be true. Yes, they will suffer. But that does not mean that I will stop speaking and pounding it into their head, because a drop in a bucket, Angie, you know that.
It will fill that bucket eventually.
Eventually, it full, you know.
Yep.
It gets full. A drop in I'm dropping on the ground. Eventually, there's a hole there. So we must never ever give up in what we believe in. And they can say what they want about me. They can criticize. They can ostracize. I don't depend on them for the breath that I have in my body. And as long as the Father, look today, another very close friend of ours succumbed to breast cancer. And I say to the Lord, while I'm saddened and I pray that she goes up in peace, and I'm glad she didn't suffer too long, I say that the Lord has kept me for a purpose. He has given me life. He granted me, I could have been gone, but I'm here. And therefore, when he keeps me here, what am I going to do? To hide, to protect and preserve my little space, as long as I can eat, as long as I can dress, as long as I have a roof over my head. I don't care what happens around me. God did not make us so, because remember, his commandment is that we love him, but we love our neighbor as ourselves. So how can we love our neighbor by sitting down and hiding in our own comfort zone?
That's right.
Jesus didn't do that. He stayed out there, because if he didn't go out and give his life for us, where would we be today? So no, darling, we must get up. And you know something? When you're courageous, and you never see that they show the analogy of a lion, a mouse in front of a lion. When the lion roared, the mouse didn't move. Now maybe the mouse was petrified, but the fact that the mouse never moved and stand up and face the lion had to turn and go.
Yeah.
Eventually, we will win. Eventually, the people's eyes will open, and God will create, because he's in control. He orchestrates circumstances that will open the eyes and the hearts, the minds of the people to see the deceit, to see the subterfuge, to see the hidden truths, to see the way the people camouflage the truth and twist it around just to keep them. He will open their eyes to see that all the money that they collected, it is gone and they're suffering. They have not made one step further in progress. And their eyes and their ears will open. And they themselves, they are the ones that's going to ask for the deliverance. They will call for the deliverer. They are the ones that's going to do it. And God will not let us, and then those of us, the righteous ones, He'll have mercy upon us. He will not let us dwell in this for too long. People do have to learn to trust God. That's what God is calling us to now, to learn to trust Him and look to Him and understand that the arm of flesh will fail you, but God never fails. Put your eyes on Him, because what He's going to do in St. Lucia, and I kid you not, in a very short time, you all will see what God is going to do. You better prepare yourselves, arm yourselves, keep the fire going, keep marching forward, and keep speaking up against the injustice that is in this land. And you will see what God will do. Be prepared to grab hold of the mantle of turning this country around. Honey, I am so frustrated. I look at, sometimes I just look at this new year. We just started already.
Mm-hmm.
Just a month into the after the elections, and look at the amount of things that's happening already.
We already have 5 murders, Auntie Joyce. 5 murders. And it's today.
And the month has not even finished yet.
It's 20 days.
Yes. 5 murders. And what about the amount of accidents?
Mm-hmm.
Look at the policies that have been done. Look at the promises. You hear a talk on an address and what happens to them.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the things that have been good. And although I went on radio silence, I wasn't reading nothing on social media. I was not really listening to the radio and the TV and nothing. I didn't listen to the PM's address or none of that. But I watched the comments and things that people have been writing afterwards, and I said, but look at that. Look at what's happening in the whole region with the Americans.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And look what's happening with our country. Solutions, they will have to learn. My mother used to tell us, when did she have to punish us? And sometimes when you say she don't punish us, her words were, if you don't hear,
you will
feel.
Now, Auntie Joyce, now that you're talking about the region, let us discuss a little bit of this hard diplomacy that we are seeing from the United States. I know that you're a diplomat. You've worked in foreign affairs for a very long time. You would have heard. Well, you said you didn't watch the news, but the United States is now clamping down really, really hard on immigrant visas, on persons coming in, and you've seen that our Prime Minister has had to accept deportees or refugees. He's trying to paint it as refugees, but we know these are people that America does not want. And you have to understand that I doubt America will refuse tax-paying, hard-working citizens, because every country runs on taxes. So,
okay, Angie, let me ask you that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, refugees. Point 1. First, I'm going to take refugees.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't there a time? Well, no. Before I say wasn't there a time, St. Lucia is part of CARICOM. Although we are part of OECS, OECS is part of CARICOM,
Mm-hmm.
right? Haiti is part of CARICOM.
That's right.
We are Haitian refugees.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't take them.
But we've taken refugees from other Caribbean islands before. You remember when that? The disaster happened in Montserrat? We accepted several people.
We had disaster in St. Kitts.
Right, St. Vincent, even Jamaica. We have a lot of Jamaicans coming to St. Lucia now because Jamaica, that hurricane devastated Jamaica.
Yes, but that is a different thing.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? It is one thing, Angie,
Mm-hmm.
for me to take in my cousins whose house burned down by fire.
Right.
A hurricane passed up and mash up their house.
Mm-hmm.
I would bring them into my house, and even if I have to put 40 of them in a bedroom, but they have a place to sleep.
Right.
They're not in the way.
According to my mother,
yes.
Mm-hmm.
And you will share what you have to eat.
Right.
But for me to take people from your house
mm-hmm.
that you don't want in your house because they stole your things, they came into your house, break into your house illegally, they have caused things in your house and do things in your home. So you don't want them, and you want me to take them. I don't know them. They're not my family. They don't have nothing to do with me. They're not even my cousin. They're not from my cousin's home or my neighbor home who I know my neighbor. But you want me to take people that you don't want in your house because they do all kinds of things. You want me to take them and bring them in my house? So what they're going to do in my house when they come in it?
Worse than what they did
Not
to
worse
you.
than they did. Not worse than they did in your house.
Yep.
You don't want your burden and you want to send it on me. And I'm a mad woman for me to say, yes, I will accept them. The only way you can tell me that I can take your burden, your rejects in my house, it is because you have something over me.
Exactly.
I owe you something. I owe you something. You're holding
and I
something on
cannot
my
pay
head.
you.
Yeah. You have it. And I can't say nothing. Because when Master talk, and I owe Master, I must do what Master say. Master say, take it. I don't care what you do. I don't know. I tell you, take them, because if you don't, you know what I have on you. And what I can do, not only what I have on you, what I can do to you.
Right. But I'm also
And that is
hearing,
the only way.
now I'm also hearing, Auntie Joyce, that certain countries like Eswatini and El Salvador, these countries are being paid up to 30,000 US per refugee, per deportee, sorry. Now, I heard Argentina received a huge sum of money, but then we're not hearing what's in it for us. Do you think it may be a case where the U.S. is paying our government to accommodate these individuals and they're simply withholding that information?
Well, all I'm telling you, my dear, nothing is for nothing. There is no freeness.
That I know.
Okay? There is no freeness. So if, as I said to you, it's either I have something on you or I have given you a payback that you must do what I say. That is the only way. I went into a deal with you, you give me something, there is always a grace hand, an exchange. There are no free meals, free lunches, never. There is nothing for nothing. So we're not here, others are talking, but let me tell you something about the truth. You may hide it as much as you want and as deep as you want. But when you see the truth, karma have a way of bringing the truth to light, one way or the other, no matter how long, the truth will have to come out.
Truth will out. Yeah, I always say that. I tell people truth will out no matter what.
It will come out. Whether you want it to come out or not, it will come out. And the truth will come out. And you may try your best to hide it because it suits your narrative now to hide the truth. Because the truth is going to show how much you deceive and on the basis of where you are in your power right now. But the truth will come out. And even though these so-called people who we start to see that the majority of our population are really just ignorant people who are just there for self-gratification or instant gratification. They don't care, and truly they don't care about where the refugees come. They don't care about what happens to the economy. They don't really care about that. As long as you pass and you drop a little something for them and it's instant for now, that's what happens. But eventually, when you cannot pass and help them again and hand the grease, and they will see the truth will come. And then these people are the most ignorant people that are going to rebel against you the worst. Watch in other countries where it has happened.
Yeah. And you know,
when you see the rebellion start, it always starts from the grassroots.
You know what else I believe? You know what else I believe? I honestly believe that people are making assumptions. They're making decisions based on a lack of knowledge. This thing, I've read some of the Facebook comments about this deportee thing, and persons are saying, oh, well, we have no choice. We have to do it. We're a small country. Everybody is doing it, whatever. Listen, you're agreeing with it because you have not gone through it. When these people come here and you realize that the level of education they have, despite them being deportees, they can come here and take your job for less money, because whatever it is they would have worked for back home, your money, your currency is higher than that. For example, the Indian workers, I heard that there are Indian workers, skilled workers. I'm not talking about laborers. I am talking about accountants. I am talking about engineers. And these people are working for less than $2,000 a month, you know. I'm not going to say where, but they're working for less than $2,000 a month because that's what they were being offered, and they're taking it. When jobs start to disappear.
Let me ask you a question. So, do we have factories, big factories in St. Lucia?
No, we don't.
Are we an industrial nation?
No, we are not.
That we need cheap mass labor?
No, we are not.
We are barely finding employment for our thousands of young people who are graduating year after year out of secondary school,
right?
College, university. We are struggling for that. People in countries where they have civil wars and civil conflicts and so on, and people are picking up themselves and they're going anywhere where they can find a peaceful living. Let me tell you something. If I can run away from a country where there is civil unrest and I want a peaceful life for me and my family, as long as I can get employment where I can put a roof over their heads, live in safety, in relative safely, and feed them, it doesn't matter whether or not I'm walking around for PhD, you know.
I agree.
I will stand up and be a cashier, because being a cashier can help me to rent a 2-bedroom house. Okay? Maybe a 2-bedroom wooden house, it doesn't matter. But it's safe and it's comfortable, and my children, my family in there, my children can go to school living in a safe place. I don't have to worry about a bomb. I don't have to worry about guerrillas breaking down my door and shooting my family. You know, I don't worry about, we can't go out in the streets. We have curfews all the time. So, you know, these are the things that are happening, and it's been happening for a while with those people, bringing in those people by the droves in St. Lucia. And even if the government is not bringing them, the government is allowing the people through the CIP to bring those people and give them passports by the roads to work in St. Lucia. Okay? So this is what has been going on. But when it reaches a point where everywhere you walk, you notice that our populations are looking like that of Trinidad and Guyana, then we'll understand ourselves. We will understand ourselves. Until we reach those times, until we reach those places, we will not understand. When we go in the supermarket and we try to speak to the helpers in the supermarket and they cannot understand our language, or when they speak to us, we do not understand. They say they speak English, but we don't understand what they're really saying in the English. We will understand ourselves. When we find that the little jobs that the majority of our people are coming out with and cannot, that was supposed to be there for them, like supermarket workers, you know, restaurant workers, hotel workers, they start seeing that is given to other people, they will understand themselves. Until we reach that point, sadly, we will not get it. But I'm telling you, the rebellion will come from those same people, because the middle class and the upper class are a minority in this country.
That's true.
It is the ordinary man that's a majority, and it's the ordinary man. And every time you've heard of a rebellion, and a vicious rebellion, it always starts from the so-called ignorant people who their belly is what comes first for them. The same instant gratification people are the ones that will get up and be the ones you cannot even quell to stop. Now, I am not, they have a way when you speak like that, they say, oh, you're calling for rebellion, you're calling for war, you're calling for hatred, you're not
enemy
calling for
of the
unity.
state, enemy of the state, you're gloating. That's the new phrase, you're gloating.
Yes, that's what they say. Because you must not say. Every action has a reaction.
That's right.
And you don't want, and I have said to them already, okay, they would prefer us not to have opposition in this country. But I'm saying to you, we live in a democracy. Too many people have given their life for democracy. I will fight for democracy. And in a democracy, there is an opposition and a government.
That's right.
And when you don't have the real party, we only have a leader of an opposition, the people that voted against the government are the opposition. And the voices will not be silent. Okay? They will not be silent. And they will speak up and they will expose what is going on, what is wrong, and they can call us enemy of the state until their voices will dry.
Yeah. Until they are blue in the face. But we will speak, because I was just saying earlier on the live that we have to be our own opposition. We have to listen to everything they say. We have to examine it. We have to look at it through a sieve, pass it through a sieve, watch it under a microscope, turn it around, try to fit it. Because if we don't do that, we will find ourselves in a situation much like some of those people that you are that we've had to succor as refugees. We would have to be looking for rescue, just like those individuals from Haiti, from India, from all of these places, and St. Lucia.
We will become the refugees.
Yes,
we will become the refugees. Let me tell you something. They have they're saying our people, and sometimes our people. And when I'm saying our people, I'm talking about the supporters of the United Workers' Party. They hurt my heart.
Sorry,
the government does not cause me pain. The government does not cause me pain. I know what they do. I know what to expect from them. And therefore, they cannot cause me pain. But my own people cause me pain. Because I hear them saying, oh, well, the party. We're not hearing nothing from the party. The party have gone into silence. Let me tell you something. These were the people for the past few months, day and night. They were out there in opposition. They were out there preparing for election. They were out there working day and night. I know that because I was there among them, and I know the toll it took on your life, on your family,
on your health,
life, on your spiritual life. Okay, and when in a month after this thing, you need to rest. You need to take time off. You'll be useless to the party, to your family, to yourself, to the state, because you need to regroup and strengthen yourself to come back. Opposition is not the party. Opposition is all of us who supported the United Workers' Party and oppose the government. We have to be citizens to stand up and speak out against what we do not approve of and stand up for. We have to be the opposition. We are United Workers' Party, and it's us that must talk. We cannot wait for Alan and Guy and Dominique and this one and that one to come and talk. They were there already. Of course they will come back, but let them go and put plaster and macrochrome and penicillin and neosporin and rubbing alcohol and hydrogen peroxide on all their wounds that they went through the battle there. Let them heal themselves so that they can come back and go back in the forefront again to take some more shots, because it's not you all that was at the front taking the hardest blows, it's them.
Yep.
So let them heal so that they can come back and come in the front stronger and better, so that they can take the blows again. But in the meantime, we, the rest of the soldiers, have to be behind them.
That's right.
We have, because we didn't get the blows like them, so we must stand up and speak out and let them know too that they're not alone, that we stand with them, that we're encouraging them, we're holding them up, we're saying don't give up, keep persevering. You know, we're there with you, we have your back. And that is what I'm saying to the supporters of the United Workers' Party. Do you or did you not believe in the policies that made you not vote for the SLP? So if you did not vote for them and you believe in the policies of the United Workers' Party, you are a solution. What in this country happens in this country, the policies, the decisions made by this government affects you, your children, your family.
That's right.
Your neighbor. So you need to speak up about it if that is your way. So because you see, everybody does not have the same gifts. The Bible speaks about people having different gifts that God give them. Not everybody is going to be on a talk show like you.
Yeah.
Or on social media doing live. Or writing posts. Not everybody going to do that.
Yeah.
But some people will call the radio stations. Everybody have their gifts. Some people will be doing their things. Some other people, you know, there are people who research and send the content to people like me or you that can talk.
Yes.
So that we can talk about it. So you do your part. Keep focusing on what you can do. You know, they said long time ago, one thing I have adopted from the Americans, regardless of how they are, is ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country.
That's right. That is right.
So I say to them, ask not what Flabo can do for you, but what you can do for Flabo, so that you can do it for St. Lucia. Do your part and stop looking at what this one and that one. The Lord tell you stop looking at the beam in somebody's and the speck in somebody's eyes and look at the beam in yours. See what you can do for yourself, for your country, and stop asking for other people, because this has been our downfall.
Yes.
We all like to shift blame. We all like to complain. We all like to say what one should be doing and the other should not be doing, but we're not looking at ourselves. We're not looking at what we ourselves should be doing, because we are in this thing together.
That's right.
It is all of us. It's a team. And every team have a leader. It have a deputy leader. It have the front, the top, the team, or in the thing have the team leaders and everything like that. And then the floor and foot soldiers.
Right. You have the leaders, you have the rear guard, you have the front line, you know, you have the foot soldiers, you have the cavalry. Everybody has a job and everybody has a part to play.
Yeah, you even have the seal. The people at covert, you don't see them, you don't hear them, but they go out and they're deadly. You know, you have all these kinds of people. So what you have to focus on is do your part, because you don't know what the other people are doing. You don't know. And you cannot be sitting down there just talking about what they should be doing.
Right.
Do what you should be doing.
Right. Do your part and let everybody else do
carry on.
themselves.
Do your part and leave them. And what it does is that it encourages the others.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that are in the front there. It encourages them, even though they you know, like Moses, when his arms were falling, Joshua and Aaron lifted up his arm.
Right.
And everybody got the victory. They all crossed through the Red Sea safe because they held up Moses' arm. Our leaders need us to hold up their arms. We must stop complaining, stop comparing, stop shifting blame, stop criticizing. Because have they not seen what had made the SLP successful? You didn't know their business. You didn't know their plans.
Mm-hmm.
They never criticize. You can take the worst demon and bring it for them once that demon is part of their team. They put in a white robe and a halo on its head, and they convince you it is sent by Jesus Christ and nothing cannot think that. You did not hear them criticizing each other, nothing like that.
Nothing like that.
They were so barefaced and bold-faced that you would go on, you would hear them on Shelton's show, really defending what is even impossible to defend. But not us, Flabo. We there, we think we must criticize, call out, shame.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my parler, from a pui. That's what we are there doing. And we need to stop it. Because I did not see a U in SLP. The U is in UWP.
That's right.
For unity.
I like
United.
that. I like that.
And it's time for us to get back to this united of Sir John when he put this unity. so that we remain, and they used to call United Workers' Party a cult. It was almost like a lodge, because nothing that was going on inside, you couldn't hear it. And Mr. Girodi was so tough that he wouldn't tolerate from any ministers. I always tell people the biggest shock of my life as a young girl in the United Workers' Party, very close to the belly of the party, growing up amongst it, serving in it as the youth, because I was a public servant, so I had to keep my support undercover. And when I became an adult, a grown woman, married and everything, and then became exposed, I was surprised to find out that Sir John and Mr. Mallet didn't like each other at all.
Wow.
They disagreed. They had all kinds of friction among the two of them. Yet every time I saw those men, when I was around them in public,
United front.
the
United
difference
front.
of my brother, my colleague, my leader was always there. Always there. That respect stood firm. You didn't hear them going out there, maybe among themselves, in their close friends or their family. But when I get to know about it, my dear, and in family, I found out, I nearly fall down.
Right.
I said, what? I went to my father, what are you saying there? He told me yes, because I overheard something there when I was at there where they were, and I was in a discussion in the inner belly at my home. And then I called my father aside afterwards, and I said, Daddy, what's going on? And he told me, don't get yourself in big people business.
Right.
That's been like that for years, but they understand what is best, the betterment of the party and the country. That's what he told me. And so said to them, now that is gone. Now it's hitting for us to succeed is every man for his own ego, every man for their own feelings. Every man is like that. Angie this, Angie that. I don't like the way Angie talking. And I'm not going to say that to my close friend, I'm going to say that to Angie on the air. Or I'm going to go on Facebook and say, Angie this, Angie that, Angie the next, Angie doing this, Angie doing that. Why? So we don't expect to, in your own family, you don't like certain members of your family. You don't like your cousins, you don't like your brothers, you don't like your auntie, you don't like your sister. You don't even like things your mother or your father doing.
Can I give you a joke? Can I give you a joke as you said that? Let me give you a joke. So, my nephew lives with me. And he and my daughter, they've never gotten along ever since that little boy was born. They've never gotten along. One time, and they always take jabs at each other and say things to each other. But one time, my nephew heard someone criticizing, another family member criticizing my daughter. And he said, wait, what are you saying about my cousin? Listen, leave my cousin alone. Don't say nothing about my cousin. And somebody said to him, but you always telling her, no, that's not your business. That's between me and her. That is not your business. He's 10 years old. That is not your business. That's me and my cousin. You stay out of it. And don't let me say what I have to say. Don't you dare say anything about my cousin. I say, wow. I didn't put my mouth in big people business according to you.
Actually, let me tell you something. If we have to be honest with ourselves, we know it. I disagree with my siblings. You disagree with your man.
Yeah.
Your woman. Don't talk for your children. Or they can put tears in your eyes.
Yeah.
But you touch one hair on the head.
Oh my God.
I pray to God daily. Daily I pray to God, because I say to him, Father, that is my weakness. Help me not to dishonor you by bringing me into any situation that will expose my weakness. Because you touch a hair on my sibling's body,
you in trouble.
on my nephew, on my nieces, and don't talk for my children. I always say that's my golden ticket to hell. I'm done. I finish. I have no sense. I lose it.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear nothing.
Yep.
I am ready to go to the very end of hell for them.
Well,
so why would we are like that in our families, but in our parties, we want everybody to walk like saints and angels. We don't see them as humans, and that the air is human. We don't understand that they too have weaknesses. We have, and the hypocritical thing about it is that we ourselves are imperfect, we're full of flaws and faults, but we're quick to find always, and that's why the word of God says you're hypocrites. You're not seeing the beam in your eyes, but you're seeing the speck in others' eyes. You always see what others should be doing, but you're not seeing what you should be doing.
Yeah.
And I say to the United Workers' Party supporters, if they don't change that principle and go back to being the you in United Workers' Party, support and stand with each other, be tolerant of each other's weaknesses, we are not going to get ourselves, because we look at all the things that cause us to lose. Hey, we better start facing that this also is one of the things that causes us to lose. We ourselves, we must start looking at ourselves.
I think a lot of people needed that talk, Auntie Joyce. I think a lot of people needed to hear your voice today. I am very happy that you called, and I'm very happy that this is what you were talking about, because, you know, it has been, I am somebody, until I win, I don't stop. I tell people, so many people say to me, you are so strong, and I laugh, and sometimes I cry when they say it. And I have told all of my friends and my family, I am not strong. I am simply too stubborn and bullheaded to give up. If I know that this is what I need, if I know that this is where I need to be, I will be like Benjamin, I will be like Thomas Edison. Edison, when he was building this man is my inspiration. When he was designing the light bulb, he failed 99 times, and on the 100th try, that was when he succeeded.
That's the child.
And when he was asked, what made you keep going after failing 99 times? He said, I did not fail 99 times. I learned 99 times how not to make a light bulb. And do you know that the light bulb you use today, there's not much that has changed from his original design?
No.
Hundreds of years later, that light bulb is still burning bright. And I always, whenever I feel tired, whenever I feel demotivated, I always look up and I look at the light. That is my motivation.
And actually, before I go, let me tell you one thing to add to that.
Yes.
There are many stories like that. Nobody who has been a success that leaves a lasting impact and make an impact in this world. Nobody ever got there by giving up. And they will tell stories, will tell it one day in the future, I will have an in-depth interview with you. Let you interview me. Let me tell people my journey through life, where I came from, and how I achieved what I achieved. And when people see me today and think I have all this, but don't know how many times I fell into depression, fell into despondency, fell into despair. But one thing kept me going. The word of God kept saying, the only time you fail is when you give up. So as long as you have strength, keep getting up, keep persevering, forget yesterday and try another day. And when I was a child, there was a book I went to school with that was called The Student's Companion.
Yes.
And it was full
I still have my copy from primary school. I still have it.
Hold this like a Bible and pass it on to your child and young children. Teach them from it. Because there's a wisdom. It is just like the book of Ecclesiastes or Proverbs. It is wisdom. It tells of people's practical experience in life. They will a stitch in time save time. Do what you can do. And what that means, that do what you have to do now so it can prevent you from having many problems later. Or never leave what you can do today for tomorrow. It have all these kinds of things like that. Well, I learned a lot from that. My mother kept that like a Bible for us. And that is why I say to you, child, this motivation and the strength from my mother and the word of God kept me going, that regardless of what calamities, and I have had every single calamity that you can think of in this life, anything that you can think of, I have experienced it from fatal illnesses, to marital issues, to parental issues, to sibling issues, to you just name it, to work issues, to failures here and there. And the Lord, well, I'm from poverty, and the Lord brought me into abundance because I had this indomitable spirit that I did not let a delay or a failure define
Amen.
what I had ingrained in me to be my destiny. If you have the vision, you write the vision, you believe in the vision, you pursue the vision. That's why I cannot give up. I will not give up on the United Workers' Party
Amen.
and its vision, its principles, and its policies for St. Lucia. Angie, I am waiting to see that Fire FM in this coming year blossom and go. I don't know. Last time I came off, y'all were not on the radio. I hope y'all get back on already.
Well, what happened? What happened is we we experienced so we've been experiencing some technical issues. I want to be very candid. So first we had a down power line at our tower site, and the authorities took a while to restore it, and then somebody was doing some work on a pole next to the studio, and they damaged our internet connection. Now, when I reported the call to Digicel asked me to reset the router. So now that the internet is restored, we now have lost, because there were special settings that we were not supposed to interfere with, and they had me reset the router. When I reset the router, we lost all of our settings. So we have to now recalibrate our entire system. But the technicians they've gotten halfway, and they're continuing, because these are not things that sometimes you can do immediately.
Right now, for now, yeah.
Right.
So glad you told me. So I can pray for that.
Yes.
So that God, I put this, because there's nothing He cannot do.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, I have to see our Fire FM go up to be the major opposition tool in this country for the next few years, and I would say couple of years.
Thank you for that.
Couple, because we ain't have long in opposition.
Yeah.
We don't.
Well,
So I have to see, and I want to see you on from morning till 9-10 in the night.
Yes.
And to find many people coming to be to come in with issues and things that will captivate and attention, and to see the listenership and the membership growing. Because the topics, the discovering, the delivery, they will not want to. People will just come in and offering themselves, not looking for money or to be paid, but coming to share, coming to reach out to the people, coming to voluntarily stand up and give back. I want to see this station grow, and I will see it happen, because this is what's going to motivate and regroup our people, and it's going to be their position. When you see the crisis hit, Fire FM is going to be the fire that will burn the dross and bring the light.
Thank you so much for that.
And that is what I was doing. So I had to try, but I came back, and now I'm back, and I had to come in and start with you and tell all my supporters, even if they break my heart a little bit, but to say to them, I am not the type. They know Auntie Joss loves everybody.
Yeah.
She believes in unity, forgiveness, strength, and is a motivator and an encourager. While I might be like a sergeant at arms, a strong, so a strong, what do you call them? Those wardens, who comes with the stick and say, look, I'm a no-nonsense person. Yes. But the toughest people have the softest hearts.
That is so true.
I love them, and I'm saying I am always there for you all. I stand with my people. I understand you, but I'm saying to you, don't give up. The crisis is about to come, and you people are the soldiers.
Thank you so
need
much.
to stand and remember the opposite. Remember that the minority people who won the biggest challenges in this world before that we are enjoying today.
Yes.
Just remember them, and that should encourage us to keep pressing on. Okay, my darling?
Thank you so much for that.
So continue having a rich program. I'll be listening on. God bless you all, and have a fantastic, positive, productive, and preparing for victory.
Yes.
New Year. Okay, my love.
Thank you so much.
Take care, sweetheart.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. Auntie Joyce, Auntie Dr. Joycelyn Fletcher, as she's known in other circles, but to me, she will always be Auntie Joyce, and always, always someone to strengthen and motivate. And when she doesn't call, I miss her terribly. So, and apparently, so do the people on the live, because so many people are agreeing, so many people are saying, yes, we all have our responsibilities, and it is just heartwarming. And it's true, because St. Lucia is our country. Our country. It doesn't belong to the 17 men and women sitting in the House of Parliament or in the cabinet. It belongs to all 180,000 of us who call this island nation home. And we all have to stop worrying about what our country can do for us and worry about what we can do for our country. I have some comments there. Oh, there were so many, but someone says Alan, Guy, Dominic, and all the other guys did their part to explain to the people they did not understand, so they need to learn and do what they must. Stop relying on the party for everything. Another person is saying amen to that, sis. Another person is saying this is a parent thing. Another one says all those that call themselves UWP and creeping for SLP, the shame is on them. Another says, Auntie Joyce, you are so right. A couple weeks ago, a strong SLP supporter told me the exact thing that you were saying. That individual said that Flubbo doesn't have secrets, and if they continue like that, they will stay in opposition for a long time. Somebody is saying, well said. Another says, see how long Dr. Friday remained in opposition and he never gave up, and he got such a resounding victory. Another one says, good job, Auntie Joycelyn. Another one says, amen and amen, Auntie Joyce. Another, exactly, my dear. Somebody says, well said, sister. Amen, very true, amen. I feel a lot better. Well, I'm happy you feel better. Another says, thank you, my sister. Somebody says, the UK is in the house listening attentively. Thank you for that. Another says, amen, Auntie Joyce, our own supporters that cause the party to lose. Some of them think they're too bright. Another says, hi, Angie, good day, blessings to you and all who are on the live. Another one says, Angie, will the genuine men and women that was on Sky FM get a seat at Fire FM? Hold on, let me see. To bring their voice, we miss them. I'm not drinking champagne in celebrating. Well, that remains to be seen. Somebody is saying, Happy New Year, Dr. Joyce. Okay, so I'm getting a lot of comments on the WhatsApp platform. People are saying that they miss hearing the station on the air. And like I just explained, so we were having some technical issues with the internet, and those of you who were on the live recently, you would have noticed that our internet started acting funny sometime last week. But the problem was misdiagnosed, and several steps were taken that just compounded the problem. But now we are working to restore the service or the broadcast to the airwaves and to the link. Okay, because before we didn't have the tower side, but we had the link. Then when they made the misdiagnosis, we lost the link, and now we have lost the link and the tower, but we're here on Facebook. And I've been assured that the situation will be rectified as soon as possible. So those of you who are fearing that Fire FM has lost, they're off the air, we're gone, we are not. We are here. Every one of the announcers are here. Everyone, we have some new announcers coming on very soon. I'm looking to really add more content to the station, streamline it, because we have a caller on the line. Good afternoon to you, caller. You are on the air.
Good afternoon to you, Miss Sandy.
How are you?
And hope I'm not too bad, thanks. And hope your day has been good to you so far.
Well, it didn't start out too great, let me tell you.
Oh,
Those technical issues I was just talking about were really getting to me. I can tell you. I felt like I would start screaming if I had to explain to another technician what was not wrong and what was wrong.
It happens sometimes, you know.
Yeah.
But at least you got past that. That's a good thing.
Yes.
Yeah. And I just thought I had to call to say that I agree totally with the previous caller. She's 100% right.
Yeah.
From last year when I started following to now, I realized even the program has grown. That I could see the numbers are increasing on the line.
Yes, they
which
are.
is a good thing.
And even our followers are increasing with every broadcast, and I am so grateful. I am so grateful, guys. I have not taken the chance. Sorry for taking your time, but I've not taken the chance to properly thank the people who share the live and who come on and who, refer us to other people. And I really thank you so much.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
Yeah.
And the good thing is we're in the first year. Or we're on the first finger, if I should say.
Yes, the first finger, yes, of OKEU. Let's hope we get the fifth finger soon.
Yep. So we have 5 years to really dissect, debunk, and really build our case, if I should say.
Yeah.
Because the way the last election went, it was honestly like a repeat of the first one in terms of the current government.
Yeah.
All of what they sold was lies. So I think we now have to start responding, like Mr. Sean said. And we now have to start answering with the truth. Because usually when we respond with the truth, they would realize, for one, we know what we're saying.
Yep.
For two, they have no defense. So when we do that, then eventually they will start getting more and more quiet because they will realize the strategy is no longer working. And I just want to say one thing at the same time, in spite of the fact that there has been so-called confusion and gossip in the camp and stuff like that, I would not want to say that this is what caused the UWP to lose.
Oh no,
because
I don't believe that.
I am convinced these guys they came in for the crookedness and treachery to steal this election. So that is why I believe the UWP actually lose, because, like I said, even though the healthcare
you mean the health insurance?
The national health insurance alone that alone was worth the vote.
Yep.
Not to mention all the other things.
And not to juke your bobo like the old people say, but do you know that Goodwin Friday is implementing this in St. Vincent?
There you go. Even in regards, I heard even in St. Vincent, the same this a hospital design that our visionary Prime Minister, if you know what I mean, in inverted commas, he rejected. The others are adopting it.
In fact,
they're such good buddies.
Let me just add some fuel to your fire. So you recall that Hurricane Melissa devastated Jamaica a few years ago? Yes.
Yep.
Do you know that in the aerial video, there were 2 hospitals in the same area? One was designed like the old St. Jude's. The other one was a box. Which one do you think survived the hurricane?
The one our government rejected is survived.
Exactly. So.
I don't have to be there, because the reason why I could respond without hesitation, I listened to Minister Guy Joseph. He explained the construction of the hospital just before the last election. He was explaining it, and believe me, when I listened to him, I heard what he said, his explanation and everything. It says that he knows what he's saying.
That's right.
The building structure in St. Lucia the old building structure that we most of us are accustomed to is something totally different to what is being implemented now.
Right.
So if you take a guy who has 60 years experience, a contractor who has 60 years experience, and you put him in this new construction or field now, he will be confused. Because he will say, oh, what these things don't make sense.
Right.
Because he has not learned the difference and even the effectiveness of it. Some buildings, here in Canada, some of the buildings, and if you were to break down the buildings, you get like the outside walls, there will be 2 walls because there's a space between. That is to prevent moisture from penetrating.
Right. That's yeah.
There's the,
Yeah,
Sorry,
go ahead. I was just agreeing with you.
And on the outside wall there is whatever you want to call the cladding on the outside wall. And there's insulation, there's the construction board and all these things in there. Now, if that building is not finished, it rains, it will leak, guarantee. So it has to be a complete building for it not to leak. And I remember seeing the video, the guy making the video of the super hospital and saying, there is Minerva Ward and the other people, whatever, because he's showing it. But I'm saying like, but you could even see it from the floor itself. It's not completed, so water is guaranteed to slip in.
You're right.
So I just don't get it. And even going back to what you were saying, the building was from North. He actually came here to celebrate with his friend. Didn't you tell him the plan he rejected was a bad move?
I don't know.
Because I guess not. Because his very country is adopting the same style of building. You know, I think even in Dominica, the same design of an airport Ireland had for the Freeport is what they're adopting as well.
And do you know that the DSH project is being replicated in Grenada? Well, it was replicated in Grenada.
There you go. So Alan went on with what's her name? This reporter from DBS. She was just tragically lost.
Lisa.
And Lisa, in terms of the home and porting and all that kind of stuff, Lisa doesn't know what he's doing. I mean, he explained everything. All they got from it is that he pretended to cry. That's all they got from it. You know.
Sometimes these comments are so laughable.
I know. But the worst thing is a lie spreads faster than the truth.
That's true.
And that's the devastating part of it. So I think we the supporters, the believers, the patriotic ones, we now have to not stay in the shadows and keep quiet, because if not, we're going to lose even from the house we think we own.
Yeah. Yep. People are already being pushed out of the House of Parliament.
Exactly. Yeah. Last week you played that about this woman, I don't want to mention her name. She was talking about the United Workers' Party have to apologize.
Yes.
I went and I listened to that thing, and I'm like, why don't these people get lockjaw when they go to fly like this?
Don't be an enemy of the state, caller. Don't be an enemy of the state.
I'm sorry, but I have to. That's my comfort zone. Seriously, you like thinking like this time, Ricky.
Yeah. Yep.
No. But anyway, I just wanted to say that I think this is what we really need to start doing.
Yep.
So that torch will burn brightly, because all of these lies and misinformation and disinformation, as they call it, it comes from them.
Yeah.
Mostly. And they sell it like hot bread. And it's not the right thing to do.
Thank you so much for that, caller. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right.
Thanks for taking my call.
You're welcome. Anytime.
Okay.
All right, guys. So we're due for a short commercial break, and then we will continue. We're going to go to the WhatsApp platform and the Facebook platform and read some of the comments on there. But first, we need to pay some bills.
You already know the power of Licks products on your clothes and household. You Licks your whites and colored clothes, leaving them fresh and scented. You Licks your dishes and left your hands protected with vitamin E. You Licks your floors, even Licks your toilet. Now we expand and bring you 3 new scents in our fabric softener: Balmy Sunshine, Summer Sunshine, and Thousand Flowers. And Licks those stains off of colored clothes with Licks Color Scent Bleach. Licks went even further with Body Care Body Soap Bars in deodorant and antibacterial. So Licks tiredness and bacteria out and refresh your tired body. Your products giving you Licks? Then choose Licks from Today Distribution Inc. Available at all leading supermarkets. You already know the power of Licks products on your clothes and household. You Licks your whites and colored clothes, leaving them fresh and scented. You Licks your dishes and left your hands protected with vitamin E. You Licks your floors, even Licks your toilet. Now we expand and bring you 3 new scents in our fabric softener: Balmy Sunshine, Summer Sunshine, and Thousand Flowers. And Licks those stains off of colored clothes with Licks Color Scent Bleach. Licks went even further with Body Care Body Soap Bars in deodorant and antibacterial. So Licks tiredness and bacteria out and refresh your tired body. Your products giving you Licks? Then choose Licks from Today Distribution Inc. Available at all leading supermarkets.
All right. So, as promised, let me turn my attention back to the WhatsApp platform, Facebook platform, sorry. So it says there, it's not some people that caused the party to lose. This election was a paid election. Money was given to people like there was no tomorrow. And people have to admit the truth. Money is the root of all evil. Somebody says, Mr. London, Happy New Year to you and your family. Another is saying quite a bit of our supporters took that money. Somebody says the UWP didn't lose, the people of St. Lucia lost. Another one says, caller, thanks for the laugh. Okay, somebody is saying UWP never lose the elections, but it is what it is. Time will tell. Another says the Labours are not following their leaders because they can't develop the country. Most are following them because of what they can get, the lawlessness, freedom to victimize, disobedience, liars, corruptions. Some could do whatever they want. I agree with that. Another one says, money is not the root of evil. No, no, no. It is the love of money that is the root of all evil. When we love it, we worship it and do anything evil to get it. Then it becomes evil. You're listening to Fire 107.7 FM here, and this is Hardtalk. So, guys, I'm very happy for the motivation that we received today from Auntie Joyce first and then the other caller. I think we needed that little shot in the arm, don't you think so? Yeah, I think we needed that. But I really want to discuss some of the issues that are happening here in St. Lucia. And we must not, for any length of time, forget that with the absence of an actual team of opposition, that we the people now become the designated opposition. And that is why we have to stand firm. And this is why I say that we need to listen to everything. And I know some of you don't like listening to these ministers, but we have no choice. We need to know what's going on in our country. We need to know what's going on in Fair Helen. If we don't know what is going on, then we cannot protect ourselves. Knowledge is power, people. Knowledge is power. Never forget that. So before Auntie Joyce called, I was speaking on the comments made by the tourism minister on the tourism arrivals, the cruise ship arrivals. And you heard the minister stand there and say, oh, he's very happy. He's very happy. He's very happy. But here's the thing. What is he really happy about? That there are ships in the harbor? Because ships don't go on tours. Ships do not spend money. Now you might tell me, well, the ship docks, they pay tax, they pay head tax, they pay docking fees, they buy water, they restock. Yes, I know. They do all of that. But the ships don't take taxis. The ships don't go to the supermarket or the small shops. They don't sit in the bars and drink. And they don't eat or sample our cuisine. So the economic fallout is a lot less. The economic domino effect is a lot less. Now you would know that P&O Cruises, which has the Avia, the biggest ship coming here now, the Britannia, and I think the Ventura, but I might be saying that wrong. They are docking in Grenada. And because of those diplomatic issues that we were speaking about earlier, America has now asked their people not to travel to Grenada. So what do? Americans right now make up the bulk of the individuals traveling to go on vacation. And if Americans are not traveling, if Americans are not going to Grenada, they're not boarding these ships. So when these ships arrive in St. Lucia, they arrive with less than their normal capacity. So the minister will tell you, but look, we had 3 ships yesterday, we had 4 ships yesterday, but who is coming off the ship? And we get head tax based on the amount of individuals in the ship. It's an occupancy tax, meaning that the tax is less when the ship is not fully occupied. And in case you've forgotten, St. Lucia, you remember a little company called GPH? Yeah, they are still collecting $10 of that head tax. And SLASPA, meaning us, St. Lucia, we're still only collecting $1. Let me say that louder for the people in the back that didn't hear me. We are collecting $1, $1. Just one, for every cruise passenger who visits our shores. Only one. Only one. Not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5. Only one. And GPH is still collecting $10. $10 per passenger that visits St. Lucia. So, when the cruise ship comes and they arrive half empty, we, as in St. Lucia, does not make money. If the cruise ship comes with 500 passengers, we only make $500. I don't know about you guys, but I can spend $500, and it might be US too, you never know. I can spend $500 hog-tied, blindfolded on a Sunday morning between the hours of 8 and 9. So that that $500 would do nothing for our country or for our people. But you see the difference, you see the disparity with what GPH gets. And what exactly are they doing? And lest we forget, GPH has not fully taken over our ports, you know. No. That lease, I have to cough because every time I say this, it sticks in my throat. That lease that they are getting or that they've signed for 40 years, you know, it doesn't take effect until all construction projects are completed. Now, look at the boardwalk that is being built at the waterfront. You notice how slow that is going? And GPH, mind you, is already collecting those $10. But the $1 a year that they owe us for rent of our ports, we're not collecting it as yet. Now, I'm not a lawyer. I am not an a politician. But I don't have to see the wind to know that it blows. I know the full details of this deal has not been disclosed to the public, despite GPH already collecting the lion's share of what is soon becoming our meager cruise tourism industry. And when I say these things, I'm not just saying these things, I'm saying these things. I'm getting this information from persons who work in the industry, from persons who receive those passengers. And one of these individuals happens to be a very strong, very, very strong SLP supporter. In fact, that person is so strong that one of their family members went up for UWP in their constituency and they didn't vote for that family member, even though that family member and them are tight. But this person was heard saying, why are you listening to this foolishness that this man is saying? You know it is not true. You know that we don't see these numbers, that these people are not coming. The taxi drivers are crying. So when the minister comes out, and I'm trying to think of a very ladylike way of saying that the minister is not representing the true figures. Because what pops into my mind initially, it's not that kind. Anyway, somebody says, Angie, you are so right. We need to know what is going on in our country. Yes, but we need to know the truth, not games. That's true. That is true. But we need to ask questions. We need to keep our eyes open. That is the only way we will know. So that we need to educate ourselves. We need to read. So that when they come with all of their rhetoric, we will be in a position to spot it. That is why I insist on informing you of the true nature of things in Fair Helen. But I'm going to have to inform you a different time, because at the moment, our time is up and I gotta go. But thank you as always, St. Lucia, for listening to me despite the many technical difficulties that we have been plagued with over this month. Let me just say to you, my listeners, that it doesn't matter what they throw at me or what happens. No internet, no electricity. If there's no internet, I will use the data on my phone. If there's no electricity, well, I will light a shell. But I will be here every day at 2 p.m. to keep you, the listeners, informed of what is taking place in Fair Helen and what the true nature of the situation is. Somebody's saying, now I am hearing Hilaire is talking about home porting. Who whispered to him? I was about to sign out, and I saw that message, so I have to stay for a few minutes. I have not heard the full remarks that the minister has made. But Ernest Hilaire is talking about home porting. Well, that reminds me of a little company called Cabot. Do you remember the hypocrisy, St. Lucia? Let me just end with this. Do you remember the hypocrisy? Cabot was the worst thing to ever happen to St. Lucia. Cabot's crime was taking a loan. Somebody's telling me my show is too short. Wow. Cabot's crime was taking a loan and paying it back. It would be pretty ironic until you realize that one of the ministers that the SLP put up, that person took a loan and didn't pay it back. So I understand their aversion to Cabot. But Lord have mercy. And today, remember when the DSH project was announced, Nobody thought about the economic spill-off to Viewfort and environs. All everyone saw was this man was renting land that was lying fallow, land the government was not using, land that was producing no economic benefit for the people whatsoever. No. He was renting land for $1 an acre. And these same individuals turned around and rented Constitution Park for $1 an acre, Castries Seaport for $1 an acre, Soufre Seaport for $1 an acre, and so on and so forth. And nobody saw a problem with that. Nobody. Now tell me that this is fair. Now they want to talk about home porting. Tanto. Just now, they will come and talk about health insurance. You know why? They have no ideas. They have absolutely no ideas. They only know what to do when Alan Chasney tells them. And I say this without fear or favor. And if you go back, most of the issues where Alan Chasney stays quiet on, the government is confounded, kerfuffled, baffled, flabbergasted, flawed, and quite confused. Bamboozled even. But when Chasney speaks, then they can find a solution. Somebody says, Angie, some St. Lucians don't like to read and understand what they read. The minister think he fool us, but he has to think twice. Somebody says, God bless you, honey. Thank you for your efforts. We are truly grateful, especially at this time. Somebody says, thanks, Angie, get home safe. Another one says, good afternoon, Miss Angie. I hope that I didn't miss anything on the live. Greetings from Wales, UK. Oh my goodness, I'm about to sign out. Somebody says, bye, Angie. I will have to pay you overtime to prolong your show. Very interesting and informative. Hey, if any of the listeners out there are willing to sponsor the station so that we stay on air, I'm very grateful. Let me make an appeal right now to those of you who can afford a sponsorship on let me Sky FM, sorry. A sponsorship or a sponsor to a show on Fire FM is very cheap. It's only 500 EC. And all supporters are welcome because, of course, radio stations don't run by pretty faces alone. There are bills to be paid. And those of you in the diaspora, on a serious note, who want to sponsor the show, feel free to contact us. Send us a message. Those of you who have businesses and want to advertise on the show, we do provide very cheap rates for our listeners and supporters. And to those of you who have death announcements, death in the family, we do provide very affordable rates for death announcements. So feel free to send us a line. You can either send us a message on Facebook or WhatsApp at 572-3473 and we will get back to you, or you can send us an email. Our email address is firefm107.7@gmail.com. Somebody's saying, bye Angie, get home safe and don't forget to harvest your rainwater. Let me tell you something. Guys, you notice that every time, from the time the Prime Minister said that there's a drought and, we have a water crisis, that it's been raining every single day, Again, you think God trying to say something to this man? I hope Wasco is engaging in the rainwater harvesting practice, because don't worry about me. My tank that I don't use to store Wasco's water, by the way, is overflowing. Thank you very much for joining me here on Hard Talk on Fire 107.7 FM. Again, I apologize profusely for the continued technical difficulties that have kept us off the air for close to a week now. But like Tyson, we now know what is not the problem, and the misdiagnosis has been diagnosed, and I am being assured that it will be rectified as soon as possible. I'm not going to give you a timeline, because I've given you timelines before when I've been assured and then there was another issue. So all I'm going to say is keep checking 107.7 FM, keep checking the link. We're going to be back on the air as soon as possible. And of course, check our Facebook page. I am going to post. This time, I'm not going to take the word of the technicians and post what they tell me. I'm going to wait until everything is rectified and I double check for myself, and then I'm going to tell you guys what's going on. And again, don't forget, if you have a business, a small business that you want to advertise, we offer very affordable rates. Drop us a line on Facebook or on our WhatsApp platform. If you would like to sponsor a show on the station, again, drop us a line on Facebook or on our WhatsApp platform. We will get back to you. And if you have death announcements, we do provide a service, so you can also send us your death announcements on WhatsApp, or drop us a line on WhatsApp, and then we can arrange for that. So that's all for today, folks. Thank you very much for joining me. Have a wonderful day. I gotta go. Bye-bye. Love you guys.